Hello, my name is Julie Fry and I'm the curator at Stan Hywet Hall & Gardens. 2023 marks the 125th anniversary of the founding of the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. In recognition of this tremendous achievement, we are going to execute a 10-part video series, which will begin in March and run throughout 2023, one premiering each month. The Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company was founded by F.A. and his brother C.W. Seiberling, and F.A. and his wife Gertrude were also the masterminds behind the creation and construction of Stan Hywet Hall & Gardens. In this month's episode, we're going to talk about some of the early patents that F.A. Seiberling took out to help Goodyear get ahead of the competition. So when the company was first founded in 1898, bicycle and carriage tires were the predominant products made by most rubber companies. That's where you would make significant amounts of revenue in producing those things. But there was a small problem. Both of those designs were tightly controlled by patents. So if you wanted to make what was considered the superior design of that product, you had to apply to the company that owned the existing patent and get permission to produce a certain amount of that product. So carriage tires were controlled by what was called the Grant patent, which was owned by the Rubber Tire Wheel Company, and the bicycle tires were controlled by the Tillinghast patent, which was owned by the Single Tube Automobile and Bicycle Tire Company. And F.A., as a good business owner, approached both of these patent owners and asked, may we have permission as a new rubber company to use your design to make bicycle and carriage tires? In all intents and purposes, in both examples, they were denied the prospect to do so. So F.A. knew this really was not sustainable. In order to make money, he had to make these products, and he had to make good products as well. He didn't want to be known for kind of a company that made a subpar product. So he made two decisions. One, he knew that he needed to innovate. He needed to come up with different and better products that then would relieve him of the burden of being held under these patents. And he knew he needed revenue in order to do that innovating, so he had to actively violate those patents and sell tires, knowing he was basically breaking the law at that point and would be held accountable for that, so he could raise the revenue to innovate. And he started to do both of those things simultaneously very early on after the company was started, so really around 1900. F.A. Seiberling had 19 patents in his name alone. There were other, of course, engineers and inventors at Goodyear who had patents in their name as well, and then patents in just the company's name. But F.A. really, right from the beginning, sought to surround himself with creative and innovative people. He himself was an inventor. His father was an inventor. They kind of had that aspect in their personality that they were always curious, always creative, always interested in making something better, making it stronger, making it faster. And he brought that drive into his company when he founded Goodyear, and he wanted other people around him who felt a similar way. Almost right away, he said, how can we improve upon this bicycle tire? How can we improve upon carriage tires? And even looking forward at that point, only after a couple of years and seeing there was potential in the automobile industry, how do we make automobile tires and make the best of all of those things? Some of his really early patent successes are reasons that Goodyear started to make those significant steps towards being the largest tire producer in the country, which is accomplished in 1916, less than 20 years since the company was founded. The first significant patent was called the straight side tire. So early automobile tires were known as clincher tires, and this had to do with how the tire was attached to the rim and then attached to the car. It was a very clunky process. Now, early automobiles were things that were mostly owned by the very wealthy, and if you were very wealthy, you often had a chauffeur who sometimes would double as a mechanic, or you had a separate person who was a mechanic for you that would help operate your car or multiple cars and would take care of the hassle of changing tires, because unlike today where it's something that any person can learn to do, back then it was much more specialized, very finicky. It was very easy to get a hole in a tire or shred the rubber. So it was something that had to be done in a very specific way. So clincher tires had to have special tools. It took a very special set of steps to get the rubber wheel on and off of the rim. Not very user-friendly. So F.A. saw that there was potential there. Could they make a tire that attached to the car and attached to the rim in a way that where anybody could change the tire? Could we make this more kind of utilitarian for people? So he came up with the design of what was called the straight side tire. And this eliminated those special tools. It was a stronger tire, it held more air, so it made your ride a little bit more comfortable. And it was also very innovative in that there was more flexibility in how it could be changed by just the layman at that point. The other part of the innovation that was really instrumental in making the straight side tire a success was he invented the universal rim. So before, depending on the type of tire you bought, what tire manufacturer, each manufacturer made their own rim as well. So if you purchased a Goodyear tire, you had to purchase a Goodyear rim. Again, FA said, this is silly. What if I invent a rim that is universal, that any tire can fit onto, and then everyone's going to want to purchase that rim, because then it gives them the flexibility to purchase whatever tire they maybe have available. It took some time. These patents were started in about 1903, and it really did take some time to change public perception because the clincher had been the standard. So FA did things like participating in road races, going to trade shows, doing a lot of paper advertisement, both in trade journals and then also Saturday Evening Post, very accessible magazines where he was demonstrating over and over and again how the straight side tire and the universal rim were really superior, more user-friendly, and more utilitarian. So the tide did eventually turn around 1908. The straight side tire started to make up ground and even surpass the clincher. So it was really what kind of that first significant moment for Goodyear where they began to see that putting in that hard work and that innovation took their company to that next level. Because in 1908, they manufactured 2 million straight side tires, but by 1911, so 3 years later, it had jumped to 25 million. So that's when they were really able to turn that tide. The second patent I'm going to talk about is the truck tire design. So when trucks were first manufactured, they're very heavy, they're utilitarian vehicles, they have to kind of carry a lot of weight, whether it be people in a bus or materials in a truck that's going to a construction site or something like that. And the industry feeling was that truck tires could only be of solid rubber. They couldn't be an air-filled tire. And FA felt differently. So he again took out a patent to develop a pneumatic or air-filled truck tire. It was released in 1917, so this was one of his later inventions. Again, meeting with skepticism, people didn't think that it would work out, so he created a marketing gimmick where he purchased a 5-ton Packard truck, which he named the Wingfoot Express. He put pneumatic truck tires on it and had the trucks drive a load of tires from Akron to Boston. The first leg of the trip took about 19 days because they ran into some bad weather, but when the truck returned from Boston to Akron, it only took 5, and it showed that the tires could handle the weight and could handle the road travel of a truck. So this was a wildly successful marketing campaign, and again, pushed Goodyear forward as being on the forefront, as being very innovative, and being the first to kind of say they were going to put their money behind pneumatic truck tires, make that bid ahead of the competition, which again was very successful for them. Please join me next month where we continue to share tidbits and insights into early Goodyear history.